Welcome to Cosmo Talks. I'm Petra. In this episode, we explore why stress hits your digestion first and how you can be a good host to your microorganisms. Because together, you form a fascinating ecosystem. And when the interaction is right, when the crosstalk runs smoothly, you flourish. You have an important presentation, or a difficult conversation, or a deadline approaching, and before you even begin, you feel it, a knot in your stomach, nausea, or a sudden need to run to the toilet. We call it butterflies in the stomach or a nervous belly, as if it's incidental, a discomfort, but it's not incidental. It's a direct signal. Your brain and your gut speak the same language. And under stress, the gut is often the first to respond, not the last. Today you'll discover why that is, and why understanding this connection changes how you deal with stress. Your body doesn't respond after your thoughts. It responds at the same time, and sometimes even earlier, especially your gut. The reason is evolutionary. In situations of danger, real or perceived, your body switches to survival mode. All energy goes to the systems that help you fight or flee: heart, lungs, muscles. And the systems that aren't urgent in that moment get shut down. Digestion is one of those systems. When your body detects stress, normal gut function stops almost immediately. Blood supply to your intestines drops. Production of digestive enzymes falls. Gut movement changes. In some it slows, in others it speeds up. Stress doesn't hit your gut as a side effect. It hits it as a primary response. Let's zoom in on the mechanism. During stress, your body activates the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is your central stress system. The end product is cortisol, the stress hormone. But the HPA axis doesn't only communicate with your adrenal glands, it also communicates directly with your gut. And your gut has receptors that are sensitive to stress hormones. When cortisol rises, something happens in your gut. The permeability of your gut wall increases, what we call leaky gut. Substances that normally stay outside the bloodstream can now get in. This activates your immune system and can trigger inflammatory reactions. At the same time, the composition of your microbiome changes. Stress hormones create an environment where certain bacteria flourish and others are suppressed. Studies show that even short periods of acute stress cause measurable shifts in microbial populations. And here's where it becomes a vicious cycle. A disrupted microbiome produces less of the substances your brain needs to regulate stress. Less GABA, fewer short-chain fatty acids, more pro-inflammatory signals. Your gut responds to stress, but a stressed gut system also makes you more sensitive to stress. The communication goes both ways, and once that cycle starts spinning, it's hard to break. This explains why people with chronic stress often also develop chronic gut complaints, and why people with irritable bowel syndrome more often report anxiety and depression. They're not separate problems. It's one system malfunctioning in several places. At Cosmo Group, we see this pattern constantly. People come with gut complaints. We analyze their microbiome, their metabolites, their markers, and often we find what we expect: shifts, dysbiosis, deficiencies. But then we ask about context, and then it comes: yes, it actually started around the time when the reorganization at work, the divorce, caring for a sick parent. Stress is rarely absent from the story. One of our most instructive cases was a lawyer, early 40s, successful, but permanently under pressure. She came with what she called a sensitive stomach, problems for years, and she'd learned to live with it. Her microbiome told a different story. Diversity was severely reduced. Bacteria involved in stress regulation were suppressed. Inflammation markers were chronically elevated. We didn't just address her gut. We also had the conversation about stress, not as something mental she had to tackle separately, but as a biological signal her gut was receiving every single day. She started with breathing exercises, with setting boundaries on her work hours, with consciously pausing. 6 months later, not only was her gut calmer, she was calmer, not because the stress was gone, but because her system could process it differently. The aha moment is this: your gut is a stress meter. When your digestion falters under tension, that's not weakness, it's information. Your body is telling you it's in survival mode, that it's redistributing resources, that it's setting priorities. The question isn't how to suppress that gut reaction. The question is, what's making your body so busy that it has no room left to digest? Ignoring stress doesn't work, and neither does ignoring your gut. This means gut health and stress management aren't separate. They're two sides of the same coin. Working on your gut without addressing your stress is half the job, and trying to manage stress while your gut is constantly sounding the alarm is mopping the floor with the tap still running. The connection works both ways. Use that. Here's a biohack that intervenes directly in the stress-gut connection. Conscious breathing before eating. This week, take 30 seconds at each meal to breathe. Deep in through your nose, slow out through your mouth 3 to 5 times. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. It signals your gut that it's safe to digest. It increases blood flow to your gastrointestinal system. It slows your heart rate. It sounds too simple to work, but physiology doesn't lie. Your body can't be in fight or flight mode and digestion mode at the same time. Breathing is the switch. This was Cosmo Talks. You don't have to carry this alone. You're part of a larger whole. Support is often already within you and around you. Want to be part of a community of like-minded people? Visit cosmogroup.eu. Until next time.